Hello, everyone. My name is Maria Olchovik. I am a senior teacher in Green Country English School. I've been working and teaching English with Green Country for 13 years. Seems like a lot of time, but during this time, we've developed a lot of interesting products, I suppose. I'm a co-author of 24 Easy Steps, the books that we use in Green Country, and a trainer, internal and external trainer for Green Country and Talking Cloud. Today, I'll be leading this webinar that is going to be about teaching reading to ESL young learners. Before we begin, I'd like to say a few words about certificates, tests, and asking questions, commenting, and so on. So as usually during our webinars, there is no need for participants to take a lot of notes, to take screenshots constantly, being afraid that you miss something, some sort of information or idea, because at the end of the webinar, every participant who was registered will get a letter with a summary of the webinar. So you don't need to worry that you will miss some of the ideas. You will get the summary that you are welcome to use. Also, together with the summary, you will get an invitation to another presentation, and you will get, most importantly, the test. There will be the link to the test with 20 questions only. These questions we will cover in this session today. And if you are attentive and if you pass this test with 75% of correct answers and higher, of course, you will get a free certificate from Talking Cloud. So there is one more thing. I would really appreciate if everybody could be active with comments and active with questions. And if you have any questions during our session, please write them in the comments. I will be really happy to answer all of them. And at the end of our training session, we will have a special slot for questions and answers. So I will be answering all of the questions at the end, but feel free to write them as they arise, because closer to the end, you might forget what you wanted to ask. So let's begin. To make it easier for you to follow what we're going to talk about, I will be using a presentation for us today. So, teaching reading to ESL young learners. The first thing that we'll start with will be about methods. And I'd like you, before we begin with methods, I'd like to introduce you the basic principle for young learners. I found it by chance while reading some articles on teaching English a few years ago. And, I was impressed with this principle, that its simplicity, and actually how often we as teachers tend to forget about this logical order on how young learners actually learn. So I'd like you to look at this principle, but I've transformed it into some sort of an exercise. So over here, I'd like you to think of the answer. So there are 3 steps on how normally young learners learn and develop their skills in English. I'd like you to fill in the gaps with 3 words that you can see at the top. And please scan this QR code. I will also send in the group chat, I'll also send the link if you want to use it. So, and use this Padlet board. Use this board when you scan the code. Use the board to type your answers. So think what comes first for young learners and what leads to the last skills that they are going to master. We're going to have 30 seconds, maybe 40 seconds to type some of the answers. Scan the code. It will take you to Padlet board. And please type 3 words there. The 3 words, say, hear, and read. So what do you think comes first? What do you think comes next? Let's see if there are some answers already. Oh, I can see many people are typing. Okay, so we'll still need a little bit more time for that. Maybe there are some already. Hearsay read, hearsay read. Hearsay read. Okay. Okay. I'd like to say that I agree. Guys, today we're going to be using this Padlet board for communication, because over here we can like have a lot of posts and we can see who's writing, who's not writing. So don't close this window with Padlet board, because sometimes I'm gonna ask you a few questions, and this is a wonderful way of communicating quite fast. Okay, okay. Well, you are absolutely right. So if we look at the right answers, so you will see that first, young learners, they need to hear a word before they can actually say it. Then that's why like singing songs to your young learners, singing songs together with them, using drilling techniques and practicing helps us a lot before we can actually start teaching them how to read. So they need to hear a word before they say it. After that, they need to say this word multiple times, many different times. So hearing the word in different contexts, saying the word with the help of chants, drills, games, helps them to remember this word. And after that, they are absolutely ready to read this word. And of course, after they can read this word, it is much easier for them to write it. We as adults, we normally forget on how simple and how logical it should be for kids, and we expect them to start reading right away. Like the first thing you need to do is to learn your ABCs, and after that you start reading. Actually, no. So drilling and like pre-reading tasks, they really help. Keep it in mind while we discuss the methods, because sometimes we will come back to this like ground principle of teaching young learners. So that brings us to methods. I'm going to show you the slide with three, the most popular methods that are used to teach reading to young learners. I will be describing these methods, and you will have to guess the name of the method that I am describing and write it in the Padlet board. If you need to scan the Padlet board once again, you can do it. Just keep it in mind that we will be communicating through that board, through that interactive board today. So here, I'll expect you to write your answers. Here is the scan code, the QR code for you to scan. So the methods. The methods are the next: the phonics method, the language experience method, and the whole word approach. Well, the first method that I'd like to describe is the one that is used in personalized learning. Kids are taught to read only those words that they already know, probably from some vocabulary, probably the words of common use, but they are taught to read not with like any other method, but with the words that they already have learned, the words that they already know how to say, how to pronounce. It's like the basic principle that we discussed before. Also, the personalization of this method means that children, young learners can do some crafts maybe to illustrate the words that they have learned, or maybe they can draw some pictures and name the words that they have learned, like read the words around those pictures. So what kind of method could it be? Which method am I describing? Is it the whole word approach? Is it the phonics method? Or is it the language experience method? Let's see if you have any ideas on Padlet board. I cannot see any. So try and guess, which method have I just described? Which was it about? That it's grounded in personalized learning, so that we teach kids to read only the words that they are already familiar with. It is seen as like easier for them to read the words that make sense, not just some random black and white words in the book. Language experience method. Okay. I agree. Yes, that's a language experience method. Absolutely right. I agree. Okay, guys. So there are still two methods. No. There are still two methods that we are going to cover. So the phonics method or the whole word approach. And the second method that you are going to guess is teaching children to say the word by like recognizing the written form of this word. It's like an automatic process, and it is faster than like ordinary teaching reading method. And there are special lists of words, and very often this method is referred to as sight reading. So you are seeing like the form, the shape of the word, and you read it. What's interesting is that this method uses a lot of words that can make up to 75% of all the vocabulary in English children's books. So first, for this method, you can practice by drilling the words. Kids remember what they look like and they recognize the whole word. They don't read parts of the word. So which method is that? Are there any ideas? Yes, thank you guys, those who are the most active. Second one is the whole word approach. Yeah, that's a whole word approach. I agree. There are many different lists, like Frye word list or Dolchheit word lists, that make it like really easy to start using this method. Yeah, cool. Okay, and what's the most logical? You will not need to respond with that. So the third one that is left, it's like it relies on ability of kids to decode words into series of sounds. So we need to teach a child to break the word that they hear into sounds, transform the sounds that they hear through the ears into the letters, and combine like different letters into phonemes and into actual words. That would be the phonics method. Okay, guys, you guessed everything. So here are the bullet points, the most important information about these three methods. And today I'm going to demonstrate one book. I've tried to choose the most popular books that teachers use for teaching reading. And each of the books will illustrate, again, one of the method. If you don't feel lazy, please guess which method we are showing, which method we are trying to describe with the book. So the first one, it is going to be, a well-known reading book, like a series of worksheets by Fly High. I'm sure that if you're an experienced teacher, you've had some experience, you've had to work with this book. So over here, we match the words like parrot, pencil, apple, egg, yeah, with different like sounds. Children are offered to listen, to read, to match, yeah. They need to be able to catch the sound, underline, yeah, distinguish between these two sounds. So I'm sure everybody can guess, even by the name of the worksheets, yeah. Well, each method can use the word phonics in it, but still, let's see if anybody wrote it. The phonics method. I agree. Yes, guys. So this book illustrates the phonics method that is considered to be like the most popular one when we teach letters and we teach different sounds. Sometimes we might want to include the symbols, yeah, these transcription symbols for our kids to know how to transcribe the words. That's the most ordinary, probably, method, the most reliable one, I'd say. The second book that I'd like to show will be the Primary Reading Box. It's quite an old book, but I've heard so much good feedback about this book, and we've been using it for a really long time in Green Country before we created our own resources. And let's see and let's analyze what we are trying to teach our kids, which method we are trying to use to teach our kids. For example, there is a game where you need to find pairs of square. For example, you color this frame yellow, and then you need to find a ruler. So the word says here ruler. You need to find a ruler and color the frame yellow as well. Then, for example, you are looking for a book. So the word is brown, book, and you need to color this one brown. After that, if time allows, you can ask your kids to cut, or maybe not even cut, but by coloring, it helps them to see the pairs, to read and actually connect the word with the written word with picture. What else can be there? Animal forms, yeah, coloring with different colors. Different sorts of games. Oh, I really like this one. So over here, you then have to cut a set of different cards. As you see, they are not combined with like one vocabulary topic, yeah, just random objects, but the ones that young learners who started learning English are already supposed to know. They know the word tree, apple, panda, yeah, so probably. So what the kids need to do, they need to circle the words in the snake, like decode, circle, find these words from the pictures, and then they need to put these pictures in the right order. So if panda is the first word, so panda, you got it, and you put it here, then apple, and so on and so far, yeah. So the games like this joining the dots, yeah, probably drawing some pictures, you need to find the word. You find the word star and you start here, then you need to find the word watch and you move on and so on and so far. Which method do you think is used in the most activities in this primary reading box? Which method? Any ideas? Language experience method. Yes, guys, you are right, because we rely on language experience book. Absolutely. Yes, not even the method, but the book. Yeah. So that's why this book is so great, because it relies on the vocabulary, on the words that kids are familiar with. So they know that this word is panda, and probably they have already learned some alphabet. So they have no ideas of like a lot of the sounds, phonemes, and so on and so far. You don't teach them the symbols like for transcription, but what you teach them is to read through their own experience. Yeah, so they find the word that they already know, they see a few letters that they know, and they are able to read it. It is much faster, and yeah, it's a great method to use, not only with this book. Today I'll show you how we can use this a little bit more. And moving on, the last method, it's obvious that the sight words, so it would look like this. For example, here we can see the sight word sentences. There can be like illustrated books. I just decided to show the easiest one. If you look like at the first sight, probably the words don't seem that easy. Yeah, it says pre-primer set. So help me make. It's quite a difficult word to read. Yeah, play, look with, oh, okay. So it doesn't seem like very realistic that kids who have just probably learned a little bit of alphabet are able to read the sentences like this, but it's not that unrealistic. Very often for this method, it even is written here that you need to drill kids with the flashcards where these words are written. There are like many, there is like plenty of different flashcards for sight reading. Normally they look like this. Oh, let me show you like this. So you can cut, you can transform them into a craft. Yeah, so card with one word, you can easily make them on your own. Yeah, sometimes they are a little bit more complicated and they offer already not the word, but also some reading or writing or tracing practice. Yeah, so there are many types of sight words. And as you drill kids with these words, as you play different like memo games or closing your eyes games like Kim's games, so and recognizing the word that was hidden, as you work with those flashcards, young learners are really able to memorize the word, like by its shape, yeah, by the sound, by multiple repetition. And that's how you teach, using this method. So that was a sight word. Sentences that were the sight word sentences and the whole word approach method. Yeah, that brings us back to like this main slide, and we've described 3 basic methods that are used to teach reading to young learners. So the logical question that arises is like, which one is the best and why? Each of the methods will, of course, have its advantages and disadvantages. But as I think, and as my experience shows, that none of these methods can be used like in its pure state, and only this one method 100%. I will tell you why. So I am in favor of using the combination of all these 3 methods, and it's very easy. Why? Because when we teach reading, normally the kids are like really young. When we speak about young learners, we speak the youngest learners ever when we teach them reading. And we don't know what works best for them yet, and they don't know what works best for them yet. Some students are able to, they are very logical, like mathematical, and they are able to decode letters quickly into words and make up words. Yeah, so the phonics method works really well for them. Some kids already have a lot of vocabulary, and they like, there is like a trend when you raise a child and you do not let the child watch any cartoons that are in Ukrainian, but instead you turn on only English cartoons in English or some songs. Yeah, so they have heard so much and they know so many words through those cartoons or maybe games or maybe trips. And for them, language experience method would be the best because they will be able to quickly use all of that vocabulary that they already know and transform it. They will learn faster through this method. Of course, they need to learn the letters, of course, but learning the letters is one thing, but using the phonics method throughout all the process of learning how to read can be a little bit boring. And for some other kids, like they need to visualize something and repeat something for many times, and only after that they will be able, like they have this photographic memory. So the whole word approach works much faster than the other 2 methods for them. So if you are teaching a group of kids and you're choosing your method, like one method to be your favorite, then you're limiting their ability to progress in reading. And some slow readers who are very slow with phonics method can be really fast readers with whole word approach sometimes, and vice versa. Yeah, sometimes kids are not that visual, but they are able to decipher these words, these letters using the phonics method. So when you use a combination and when you explore what works better with your group, and you choose one that is basic, but from time to time you add some activities to spice up your reading lessons from other methods, you are actually bringing so much benefit. You're giving so much benefit to your students so they can learn much faster how to read. So that's about which method is the best and which one I recommend choosing. I recommend choosing a combination, a healthy, great, interesting, fun combination of all of them. Well, let's move on, I guess. So that was more like theoretical thing about methods. And that brings us to resources. Today, I'm gonna tell you which resources for reading we use in Green Country. Well, when we start with the youngest learners, we have two readers. One of them, the first one that kids start with, is an ABC book. So besides having a regular book, they have a separate reader book. Let me demonstrate a few pages just what it looks like. For example, like this. So we do not ask our kids to trace the letters. We ask them to draw smiles. They like drawing smiles, or finding letters and coloring them, like basically like everywhere else, or matching the words. Oh, I really like this one where we ask the kids to count the letters that they've been working with. There are normally 3 letters at a time that they are working with. In this case, it's, for example, D, E, F. So they need to count how many E, how many D letters they have. And also, they need to differentiate between capital, like uppercase and lowercase letters. That's also important. And just in a moment, I'll tell you why. So over here, we ask them, like normal books, we ask them to trace, to write, to choose the words. And here it comes with uppercase and lowercase letters. I can remember the time at the beginning of my teaching career when after teaching kids to read, I was shocked to discover that they were able to read well only the lowercase letters, because the uppercase letters, they saw only once, like in tasks like this, or when we presented like the letters, and they forgot. And very often the uppercase and lowercase letter, look at letter D, they are like super different. Yeah, you wouldn't guess it's the same letter if it wasn't, for example, in English, yeah, in maybe if you had a different letter in Georgian language, for example. So we forget that uppercase and lowercase letters are different for our kids. And when it comes to reading something in uppercase letters, they get lost because they do not remember. They do not remember letter H doesn't look like it does like a lowercase letter. M probably doesn't look the same. So letter A doesn't look the same. So they get lost. Letter G doesn't look the same. That's why in our books, we have we like eliminated this risk, and we teach kids to read both in uppercase and lowercase. Let's see what else. So like basic stuff where you match with pictures, with everything. Also, we have like the snakes games when they need to find circle. Yeah, but again, unlike in the older books where only lowercase letters are printed, we have different options. Some like quest things, you need to point, name the letter, and help. We need to get home. That also works well with young learners. When it comes to like closer to the end of teaching alphabet, they already know enough letters, and we start teaching CVCs like that. E, in, pin, E, in, bin, E, in, fin. In this case, for example, if they haven't started, if it's PQR, so they haven't learned letter S yet, so we will not find letter S in this reading exercise. So this way, they practice reading short words, CVC words, with the letters that they already know only, and some like practice a little bit, and matching again. So finding pin and pin, yeah, for example, pig and pig, they are different, and that's important, and we need to provide enough practice for young learners with uppercase letters, with capital letters. That's what the book looks like. But in Green Country, you probably have heard, if you have heard anything about Green Country, then you would definitely know that there we use different platforms. We use our own platform to give our kids access to the materials, not only in paper books, but also online. And for ABC book, it's like a reader book. It's incorporated in every lesson, I'd say, of the platform, because at the beginning we have like really a lot of reading practice. The first levels, they have a lot of reading practice. And I'm gonna show you what it looks like. So it's step 2, it's like the first we start with step 1 and then kids become step 2. So there are different chants and songs, like alphabet songs that were created by Green Country. I will demonstrate a little bit what we do with that. For example, songs like this. Okay, it needs a moment to start. P-Q-R, P-Q-R. P sounds pencil, pencil. So it goes like this. I will not like bore you with long videos. So for each letter, there is like letter P sounds p. And through multiple repetition of the songs, like when they do their self-studies at home, when they prepare for lessons, or when they come to the lesson, so they sing the songs, and there are chunks. So this like huge song of whole alphabet is divided by letters. So there's 3 letters at a time, and they learn the 3 letters at a time. And after that, when they finish with all the alphabet, they are able to sing all the song, and they know a lot of sounds, yeah, like basic sounds that come with every letter. So as you see, probably phonics method is used here mostly, yeah, when we teach letters only. They do the tasks like when they need to match again, capital letters, yeah, Q is Q. They can check their answers. Oh, not allowed. They match something like this. Why we are doing this? Well, teaching modern children reading is not an easy process. And if you can add a little bit more technology to it, why not? It's a great way to engage children a little bit more in reading, into letter recognition. So when they do the tasks like this at home, or when they listen to songs like this at home, I'm not sure that they sing actually at home. But then when it comes to one more self-study, like for homework, yeah, so again, they match the letters, they are asked to type in the letters, right? Quiet. And after that, they are introduced with like the CVC word reading. So within, they need to find the words which finish with in. So basically, it's the same tasks, the same words, or more or less the same words that were used in the book, in the printed version of the book, but it helps to engage our students a little bit more, and it enhances their motivation to read, to like not with a book, not open the book, but to read on their gadgets, and they can take it everywhere. So that's what they do at home probably. And once they come to the lesson, they will sing the same song again, but at the lesson, they will be asked to like match the parts, right? Is it R? Probably it is. And that's a Q letter, right? So they will be asked to match part. And remember that counting task was PQR letters. So you need to count how many uppercase and lowercase letters you have. And you need to add to add them and see how many. So counting the letters is also an interesting task that we can offer. For example, if in the book they are asked to like trace, so here they will be asked to type the letters, yeah, because typing is also an important skill nowadays for kids. And once they are asked to type that letter 3 times, so they will do this, yeah, and they will check their answer, so that will make them see where that letter P and where the letter Q is on the keyboard and type it in. That's how we start teaching reading in Green Country, which resource we use with the youngest learners. After that, when they finish their first levels, they will move on and progress, and they will have one more reader. It will be not an ABC book, it will be an ABC reader. This one is a little bit more difficult, and again, it goes separately. So they separately have their main book, course book, and separately a reader. Why? Probably because we still need a lot of attention to develop their reading skills. after they finish with this reader, then in their course books in Green Country, well, they will not be anymore like very young learners. They will already have some skills, some quite normal reading skills, and there will be only like the phonics or the reading pages incorporated in their course books. So there will not be that much tension, but of course we will master their reading skills. Let me show you what we do with a little bit higher levels. So over here, we ask them to read some words. If you look at this, again, there are some words only in capital letters, some words like in uppercase, lowercase letters, and they don't make much sense. Probably log, yeah, or got, or net, gun, yeah. Who needs those words? So here, to do the task like this, it's task number 3. So to do the task like this, we rely on their sight reading abilities. Yeah, so we rely on like that they can read by sight already. Yeah, so we teach them a little bit, we drill these words a little bit, and we make them read. So over there, they will match the letters with the words. Yeah. So here they need to write the letters and read the word. For example, net, get, egg. Then there are plenty of listening tasks as well, so where they can listen and check their answers if they were right. We have a lot of like funny poems or maybe tongue twisters. I take a cake, I write, oh, this one is not a tongue twister, but like just a few sentences over here and they can match with some pictures. Yeah, there will be tongue twisters, but a little bit later I got confused. Circling the odd one out. Yeah, for example, take, name, sand. So they circle sand. So things like this. I really wanted to show. So we teach these diagrams, yeah, like ch, sh sounds and something like that. What's also important here, when we teach, for example, ch and sh, you get plenty of exercises to match like chair, shoes. So like every word contains the sound and kids become not very attentive. So when in this case, we incorporate other letters. So for example, in test number 2, they are asked to look at the letter and say the sound. So they need to say r, sh, f, z, r, right? Just by sounds. And after that, we ask them to read. So many of the words will have the ch sound or sh sound, but for example, chat and then cat, shape and shake, and chin and then pin. So the words which are a little bit easier or the words that they've learned before will be incorporated in this reading. And through multiple repetition and reading of this word, they keep like fresh in their head and they do not forget how to read. Yeah, for example, double O if they've learned it before. So some of these words, not many, but a few of these words will come up here and there in different exercises, reading exercises. So it's not only about ch and sh, yes, ch and sh, but other words also exist, yeah? So they do the tasks like this with choosing the sound. Something is easier, something is more difficult. Oh, here are the poems. I like this berry, it's a cherry. Yeah, let's make a milkshake and go to the lake. It's very easy to engage kids into chanting, into saying slowly, faster, and so on. Yeah, that's what we do. That's what they really enjoy, different chants. Seeing different cool pictures. For example, when we teach the sound like in brother or in that, we do not teach it like I've seen in some books, and it's a terrible headache. It's so hard to teach kids the and s at the same time. They got really confused, so we teach them separately. In this case, we compare z and zebra. Yeah, so they read with only this part of the sound. That's also an interesting thing. We do not risk confusing our kids. And with ABC Reader, we also have lots of exercises on the platform. Let me show you which tasks we use with a little bit older kids. So that would be step 6. So that would be the 2nd year of their studies in Green Country. And for example, Mid and Mine, they have like audios to listen to. They have the tasks where they listen to the audio and they need to put the number of the word, for example, let me demonstrate this one.
Green Country presents 1. Kit. 2. Brit. 3. Kite. 4.
Something like this. So they can listen as many times as they need to and fill in, like put the numbers over there. Yeah, so put some letters, listen to the chants maybe. Yeah, and again, categorize for the E and I sound. So they will use is comes here and bike comes here. Yeah, something like this. So on the platform, it gets really like interactive. And it's easier to get kids interested in reading this sounds, these words when they are on the platform. With another step I really wanted to show, that's step 7. So it comes right after 6. So we are practicing the A sound in different words, in different combinations of letters. Yeah, so they read a mini story, then they find these words. Yeah, over here. They listen, they check, they have some pictures to write the words. And my favorite thing is tongue twisters. To make a fake cake, take paper and tape. So first they listen to the tongue twisters like really slowly. I'll demonstrate.
Green Country presents
To make a fake cake, take paper and tape. Let's play in a day near the bay.
Something like this. And after that, when they got familiar, they read a few times. We encourage them to read faster.
Presents
To make a fake cake, take paper and tape. Let's play in a day near the bay.
So it goes faster and faster and faster. And having these competitions between your students in the group, it really livens up the atmosphere. So it becomes not that much more about the reading, but about having fun. And at the same time, they practice a lot of reading and a lot of sounds over there. So guys, that's what I wanted to show on which resources we use and how we managed to combine like different interesting methods and approaches in our books and our online platforms to make reading more engaging just for our students. And what I quite often hear is that, okay, you're lucky, you work in Green Country, you have access to all this online resources, to all these online platforms. So today I will briefly tell you that, I will briefly demonstrate that we are launching a new platform. It's a learning management system. It is called Talking Cloud platform. And this platform gives access to all of the resources, to all of the online resources that we are using with our students. So that's a multifunctional language management system. It can be used by teachers, by students. So I'm going to show you what are the benefits of using this platform for teachers before we move on. So with for teachers, you can get some interactive workbooks, the ones that I've shown you for young learners, for example, at this moment, but there will be like plans and teaching tips for all the levels. So starting with young learners, finishing with teenagers and B2 level, B2 course. There will be lots of extra materials with revisions, with some hot, interesting topics. And there is like a whole testing system, and that helps you to monitor the kids' progress, to see how well they're doing in the tests. Basically, there is also, as we are using it in Green Country, another thing that you can see how much of homework, how much of the self-studies your students have completed, where they had mistakes, where they forgot to write something, what was the most difficult part, and it really makes preparation for the lessons so much easier because you already know, you are not guessing what might be problematic for them, but you already can see what was problematic. And of course, there is a full testing system. So there are many different tools that you can use to manage your groups, your individual students. So it can be for group teaching, it can be for tutoring, like one individual student. So there will be different tools. You will see the attendance, you'll mark the attendance, there will be calendar. So basically, if you use a platform, you don't need anything else. So you have all the materials and you have all the management tools. That's as for teachers. For students, they also get registered in this platform and they get this interactive workbooks. So not only paper workbooks, but interactive workbooks as well. They can get tested online anytime that they want. They can see the teacher's feedback. They get these extra activities and some research projects that they can really, that makes them really like motivated. So guys, that was briefly about how you can get the same resources as we are using in Green Country. And if you want to know a little bit more today, our webinar is not about the platform, it's about teaching reading to young learners. So if you want to know more about the platform, you will get a demo after the webinar, and we invite you to attend the presentation on the 2nd of June. On this QR code, if you scan it, you will see the registration for this presentation. There, in this presentation, you will get more information about how to use this platform, about all the possible options that there are for teachers to start using it and for students to start using it. In this demo that you'll get after the webinar, you will also get a link for registration. So you don't need to register now, but only if you really want to. So guys, that's how you can use Green Country's resources to teach young learners how to read. And in Green Country, we do not only use these resources and only our online platform. Actually, our teachers are quite creative and there are many ideas. Some of them are, by the way, already incorporated into our readers, into our books that you can also get an access to. But some of them are like done on our own with our own initiative. So some ideas for teaching learners, young learners. Start with is using videos. You've probably seen that we are using a lot of videos, a lot of like songs. Yeah, maybe not a lot of, okay, to teach reading, not that many, but there are some videos. We're using a lot of videos to teach vocabulary and grammar, but to teach reading as well. If you go to YouTube, you will probably find lots of videos that offer reading practice. And I personally have two types, which are my favorite. There can be different like channels, different ways. You can find the same, you can find different ones. But I'll show you like the idea of which reading video gives a lot of practice to my students. So the first one over here is for CVC words, reading CVC words. We can do it the same thing in the book, but sometimes it is or on online platform, but sometimes it is difficult for kids to stay focused, to read a lot of words, a lot of CVC words. Yeah, so we sometimes need to turn it into something fun, and you can not only play games. So sometimes you use a video for reading practice. I will demonstrate a fragment only of this one.
Let's read. Og. G. Og. Log. Jog. Dog.
So as you see, and then there are like other ones I'm not sure you can see, but for any CVC word, you will find the videos like this. Why they are so useful. First of all, they are interactive. Second of all, it's personalized learning. So yes, the basics may be the phonics method because you are deciphering, decoding the letters into sounds, but also you can see a picture. Kids can see a picture and they can relate the word with picture. There are some sounds like a dog barking and young learners like really love it. So the first time they watch and repeat. I always ask to watch and repeat. So every word, it's not very fast. They are able to repeat. Second time, when we finish all the video, I do this. I turn off the sound completely and I just start the video. I ask my students to read on their own. It needs a lot more effort from them, but it keeps them so focused because the letters are changing in the book. The letters are not going anywhere, but in the video, just look, try to read. So they would say og, yeah, then they would say log, jog. And you see dog, so everything is changing very fast. And if you mute the video, kids will benefit like a lot from it, but you cannot mute it right from the beginning. So first they need to watch, to listen, to repeat. And after that, when you mute, they will be very focused. They would like really want to read as many words as you show them in that video because the words are moving, they're hiding away and they need to read them like right now. So they are very focused. So the young learners really benefit from the videos like this. You can find a lot of CVC reading videos on YouTube, and that's a great idea to use and to liven up the atmosphere during the reading lesson. Another video that I'd like to show is over here for sh sound. Again, I'll show just a part of it.
Kids versus phonics. Sheep. Ship. Sheep, ship. Fish. Wish. Fish, wish. Short fish, wish. Shark.
So,
Orange shark, dee dee.
Okay, yeah, the name of the song is also here. So the videos like this that are focused only on one sound, it can be any sound, help, again, motivate our students to read more words. Yeah, so these is like cartoon characters. Sometimes they are funny, yeah, when they can see a lot of ship on the ship. And it helps to engage young learners. It helps to raise their interest. So it's a great idea to open a lesson with such a reading video. And after that, again, use my favorite trick to mute the sound, and you will let your students read a bunch of words with the same sound. Yeah. If you mute the video, so they will have to read these words on their own. And again, the pictures are changing. And here, again, it's like language experience. So they know that it's a shark. They probably know the word fish, yeah? So some of the words they would probably guess, yeah, wish, maybe that would be a difficult word for them to read. But again, here in such videos, you rely on their language experience and not only teach phonics to them. Yeah, so you activate the vocabulary that they already know, and it's much easier for them to remember the sound sh than just reading a bunch of black and white words in the book. That's what we have in terms of video. Of course, guys, different songs like chants. We actively use songs and chants in Green Country because they help to drill, to repeat, and through multiple repetition, kids actually remember much better. That's it about the videos that we use. Again, I'm sorry. It got me a little bit far. Another interesting idea is to play games, but not any like phonics games. Today, I'm going to share one of my favorite resources. It's a book of poetry games. You will also get a link to this book and you'll be welcome to use it. Poetry games. The book is by Kama and Horn. It's called Phonics Poetry Pages. Today, I'm gonna tell about 4 games, but in this book, you can find more games and like printer-friendly worksheets that you are more than welcome to use in your phonics lessons, in your reading lessons. So the first game on the left is called Phonics Cheer. This one I can demonstrate over here. The idea of the game is like very easy. You have the same phonics cheer. So it goes like this. Hey, hey, what do you say? Can you make words with? And here you put any sound you want. Yeah, the sound that you are aimed at this reading lesson. I can make, for example, let's say, can you make words with sh, sh, sh? I can make ship, shark, and wish. Good for me, hooray, hooray. So it's like, hey, 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 what do you say? And good for me, hooray, hooray. It encourages, you can use this phonics cheer at the end of your reading lesson to make sure that kids actually remembered the sound. You can make sure that they actually remembered a few words and they can use them. Yeah, so you can phonics cheer all together at the end. It will be like a very nice and short production exercise. If you have more time, you can ask them to like draw pictures to illustrate their words, or you can use this one in a bundle with a video, so they can watch the video and you can ask them to remember 3 words from that video with that sound. Yeah, and they will be doing it. So this phonics cheer works really well, and when you cheer, you need to actually like set some rhythm, maybe choose some music, yeah, with the drums music, and like cheer all together, and kids can shout out loud their own words that they made for this phonics cheer. So that's a great idea that I've been using a few times, and it really worked well. The next one is phonics treasure hunt. Everybody, not everybody, but okay, many kids really enjoy treasure hunts, quests, and stuff like this. So for this one, you need to have a poem like this. For example, here you can see driving a Jeep, yeah, for double E sound, like long E, beep, beep, beep. You can ask them to color and so on and so forth. So first, you're actually working just with a poem. Yeah, we're steering in our Jeep. It's gonna be difficult, but you need mostly to focus on the last words, yeah, with double E words. And if kids have some difficulties, so you demonstrate these words to them, yeah, you help them with understanding the idea of the poem. After that, the task is to cut this poem into lines. So you'll have to cut into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines, 5 lines. You can also cut like the heading and cut the picture. Then you will hide this strips of paper into different places. There is no need like to have like different tasks. The first one will lead to the next one and the next one. They are still young learners. So it's like egg hunt at Easter, but it's like treasure hunt. You were telling them that there are 6 pieces of paper hidden in the hall or hidden in your room. It depends where you are. And it's a great idea. So they will all run, have a minute or 2 of chaos of looking for the strips, and then they need to put them into lines in the correct order as they remember, yeah, before working with this poem. So that's how treasure hunt works. Phonics treasure hunt. Of course, you can use any poem, any sort of maybe a story, anything you want. So once you have finished working with it, great. Maybe you will not have time at the lesson to cut, or you will not have an assistant who will cut and hide that for you. So you can use this game to revise at the next lesson or a few weeks after. So, and remember how we read this word Jeep, yeah? So few lessons passed, and then you have this treasure hunt with this poem. Yeah, so it's a great revision tool, and also it's a great idea just to liven up the atmosphere. Phonics bingo. Well, guys, everybody played bingo. Yeah, so you just, here is a grid for bingo. You just use the sound that you need to work on at this lesson, and you have a lot of cards with words, or you have just words printed on the cards. You get them. You ask your students to listen to the words, yeah, and when they have 4 in a row, or 4 in a row like this, or 4 in a row like this, so they will shout bingo when they have these words, and they will win the game. Yeah, so that's how bingo works. Like, any vocabulary or grammar bingo, but just with phonics. And one more is about phonics hot potato. For this, you just actually need only a list of words. So for example, here like ooh sounds like in a moon. Yeah, so you will have to project this list of words on the screen or maybe write it on the whiteboard beforehand. So that everybody could see. You take a ball or anything that is hot potato for you, and you say ooh, and you throw it to one, and you say the first word, balloon. Then the child who catches this hot potato says ooh, and says another word, blue. Yes, so, and this way they pass the ball. It keeps them very focused. Yeah, so hot potato burns if you say the wrong sound. Yeah, for example, you say not boom but bam or something like this. Yeah, or if you read the wrong word, yeah, then you burn with hot potatoes. So basically like every other hot potato, but here it's like hot potato with mistakes. Yeah, so if there are no mistakes, you can just read a whole list of words. Of course, we can just read the whole list of words, but it will not be that fun as like keeping our eyes on the ball and passing it and being very attentive not to get burned with a hot potato. Yeah, so that will also encourage our students. Guys, in the summary that you will get in the letter after this webinar, you will get a link to this phonics poetry pages. Please use it. There are many other interesting ideas. I've chosen only 4, the ones that I've tried many times. Well, another one that we are going to talk about will be about crafts. And in Green Country, we use a lot of different projects and crafts. Sometimes at the lessons, sometimes they go as extra optional activities that our students can complete at home. And as for young learners, they don't actually have like books, like in a form of book with pages. First 4 steps, they get a box with material. So instead of getting a book, you get a box where you have a poster with a story, for example, where you have different cards, where you can trace, you can color. So basically all the book pages are transformed into these materials that are inside a box, because it makes it more interactive. The child, we can, like, if it's not in a book page, we can make some of them on a sticker paper, some of them with stickers, some of them on cardboard. So it allows us to experiment a lot with different forms and different tasks. So in Green Country, there are many interesting crafts, but today I'm going to demonstrate just regular crafts that can be used for reading and for teaching phonics, not Green Country crafts. Let's take a look. So for crafts, it's a nice idea to use something like this. So the first one that I'm going to demonstrate is a slider. So you can see a bug, and here all you need to do is to cut one line and make 2 more cuts over here on these 2 lines. After that, with the help of teacher or on their own, students need to slide these letters over here. So this way, when they move the slider, they change, like the words are changed. So the first word will be bugs, then hot, then tag, rug, mug. What's good about using crafts like this? First of all, it doesn't take much time, because as teachers, well, for me, it's always a pain because not all young learners have really strong scissor skills, and the crafts which need a lot of cutting and a lot of glue usage, they are fun, they are interactive, but they take up a lot of precious lesson time, which not very often I'm ready to sacrifice just for fun. So having a very simple craft like this, it saves time, but it is very engaging, and be sure that kids will want to play with their sliders after the lesson. They would like to show it to their parents, read the words again and again. Yeah, and of course color maybe. There can be sliders. You can look for different sliders like this. There are plenty of them on the internet, so you can create your own if you want to, or you can just, like, for a little bit more difficult words, yeah, kite, for example, bite, side, white, white. Yep, something like this. So the sliders, they are a very quick and interesting and engaging type of craft that I recommend using with young learners. Another one, well, these ones are like cliche, but still. Making letters that that are associated with a word that starts with this letter. Like, I don't know kids who don't like it. So normally they do, but this one, of course, it allows a lot of cutting. If you have assistants or administrators who can help you a little bit with cutting, that would be great. So if they cut the smaller parts, for example, and then you will just ask young learners to cut a large letter D and to glue it all up, then it will save a lot of time. But again, if they like this dinosaur, if it's pretty, so they will probably really remember the letter D for very, very long because they will like adore their dinosaurs, right? Or if you want to, you can like print a page like this and give it as an optional activity for kids after the reading lesson. So after they've learned letter D at home, if they are interested in doing this, they can make up their dinosaurs and bring them, yeah, and then use their dinosaurs at the lesson, yeah, maybe for tracing, maybe for like different reading activities where they make their dinosaurs talk or something like this. Another like crafts, but it's not exactly craft, but it needs some crafting. Yeah, so there can be tasks like this. For example, you have vowels and sounds, yeah, like and E. So there will be different pictures kids need to cut and categorize, yeah, like fan, bed, fish. Yeah, but they cut, then they mix it up, and they need like to put them back into the correct category. Yeah, so map, net, lip, and a can. So like sorting cards, something like this. You can make like only one set together with your with the whole group. Like every child will get like only a piece of paper to cut and color, and after that you'll have a sort of a game like this. It is also quite engaging, and it helps to remember some letters, some CVC words. Another one, it's not exactly a craft, but it's more like a tip. Very often young learners are really confused with B and D letters, and sometimes not even young learners are confused with them. And there are various methods on how to remember a little bit better, but the one that I like is actually making a bed with letter B and D. So you teach young learners how to spell bad. It starts with B, then E and D. So they need to know only one word, that it's a bad, and a bad goes like this. Yes. So you can actually find a picture of a bad, yeah, like with and then stick the letters B and D onto it and make your students remember. So if you use a craft like this, but you actually cut this letter B and cut this letter D and you stick it onto a bed, children, while doing this craft, while repeating this word bad, they will probably remember, yeah, while coloring it all, so they will remember. Also, if you're not a fan of crafts, to avoid this confusion with B and D letters, it's a good idea to actually teach them B, yeah, like letter B and D, bed, yeah, so you can just use fingers without crafts, yeah, so B and bed. That's how it works. Sometimes it really helps, sometimes it is. Okay, that was about the crafts that help reading with young learners, like help teach reading. And there are also some like other two that I'd like to comment on. They are crafts that help us keep the focus on reading. So once kids start reading maybe short sentences or stories, it's a very great idea. We've also seen it on some of the webinars. To make a hiding circle. So there, all that you need to do is only cut a circle or any other like a shape and cut a little hole in it so that the hole can like show only one or two words probably. And when reading with a paper book, with a course book, this one, if I'm not mistaken, is from Family and Friends. So there is a story about a lion and a mouse. So kids do not see the whole text, but for example, they are listening to the story and they do not trace with their finger. It's boring to trace with your finger. Yeah, so to stay focused, they need to move this circle, this shape, so that the right words appear in the whole. So they will read the mouse is sitting on the blah, 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 something like this. Tricks like this help a lot to increase attention and like keep the children focused at the beginning of their reading lessons. Not at the beginning of the lesson, I mean when they're starting to read, they get distracted and they can lose their focus very often and very fast. So using something like this keeps them very, very focused. Yeah, instead of tracing with the fingers, they can trace with the whole, and then they will like be worried not to lose the line, not to lose the word. Yeah, so that would be interesting. And of course, if you have some time at the lesson or after the lesson, you can ask your kids to design their reading circles. You can make up an interesting name for this reading tool, and they will bring them and they will read longer stories or longer sentences with the help of this tool. Also, there are some pointers. These ones I really love. So you need ice cream sticks, like wooden sticks that are used for ice cream, and you can make up a pointer. So yeah, it will probably take up like 7 or 10 minutes depending on the age. So you can use different items over here. I have chosen just to illustrate some of them with sports, some of them with magic wands. Yeah, so it depends on what your group, what your kids like more. So once they have this reading pointers, you can see it over here. Yeah, so they are reading and they are pointing with that. The same goes with a star with a wand. So you can choose any item to place on this ice cream stick. Let your students design according to their hobbies, according to their interests, and then again they can bring this reading pointer every lesson. It doesn't take a lot of space. It's not like a huge craft like a dinosaur, yeah. But again, it makes reading more pleasant. Probably a lot of girls will enjoy like having this like precious stones, yeah, or something like stars over there, or maybe boys will also enjoy something like this, some sort of decorations, yeah. So you can choose any topic, print ahead some pictures that they can use, or maybe as over here, just use like a glittery paper or maybe felt tips, yeah, to make it. So pointers, they also work wonders because kids during the lesson, they really like bringing something they've made. They really like using it, showing it off to their group mates, and they will not, they normally cannot wait to start using their pointers to start like reading. So they will enjoy much more different reading exercises, even if you are reading some boring black and white words in the book. Yeah. So guys, that was about the crafts that I've tried and that worked really well with my students. And that brings us, I guess, to the almost end of our presentation. So as I promised, at the end, we've talked about methods, 3 key methods, and 1 basic principle. We've talked about resources that we use in Green Country and which methods we can use. We have used when developing those resources. I've shared some ideas on videos, games, and crafts. You will get a summary in a letter that you will receive in the webinar. And now it's time, as I promised, we will have 15 minutes for a questions and answer session over here. So you are welcome to ask any questions about this webinar, about this topic, or any like other questions that may arise. Let me just see. Probably, I hope nobody. Okay, yeah, I can see some summaries here. So just give me a moment. I'll open the document with all the questions that were there during the webinar. And we'll see. The first question is, do you use the sheets of papers where you print them? Well, the sheets of paper, I'm not sure I can understand the question like completely. You mean, do we use the worksheets? No, because we have a lot of materials that are already made. Sheets of paper maybe together with online platform? Again, no, because we have a combination like a paper book, course book, and online platform. If you mean sheets of paper with the activities, with some extra activities, with printable activities, maybe like for phonics games, then yes, we can use some resources like that poetry books of phonics, and they are printer friendly, so they're black and white, and you can print like the bingo chart or like the phonics cheer that I showed. Yeah, if you want me to comment a little bit more on that, please clarify your question, because I'm not sure I can really understand. In the office, we have printers, and we normally ask if we want to use some extra materials. We normally ask our administrators to print something for our groups. If you want to know a little bit more, clarify your question, please. Another question, how many pupils will be in the group to work in such way and use such exercises? Such exercises, probably the ones that I showed on the online platform. Well, it depends. In Green Country, where groups are up to 10 people, but normally they are like 6, 7. Sometimes with the COVID and all the restrictions that we had groups of 4 or 5 kids. Yeah, the materials that the exercises that are used on the platform, kids do in their own gadgets, not at the lesson, but before the lesson, like a form of preparation for the lesson, like doing their self-studies. And at the lesson, we have different types of work, like we provide a group work, like open class activities, like where whole group is engaged. We provide work in teams and in pairs. So normally there will be like on average 6 to 8 children in the group, and they will work like that. Who creates such resources? So the resources that I demonstrated, our authors, including me, we created the resources, like we created 24 easy steps. That's like a whole series of books that start with step 1 and finish with step 24. And we created them using all of our experience, all of our creativity. Yeah, we use them on our online platform and in our offices, like in form of boxes, of books, of crafts, of different like engaging tasks. And in Talking Cloud, you are also given an opportunity to try these resources out. If you are really interested in that, I recommend that you attend the presentation on the 2nd of June. There, it will be not about teaching reading to young learners, but the presentation will be about Talking Cloud platform and tools and the opportunities that it gives to the teachers. At this presentation, you will be able to understand like in detail how it works, what you can find exactly there. So today I just demonstrated what we use as teachers in Green Country, and I hope that you enjoyed it. And I hope that if you attend the presentation, you will see more benefits of it, and probably you will join our team as well. Okay, how long does one lesson last? Our lessons, they're not like only for reading, yeah, or only for vocabulary. We have this complex approach. Our lessons last 80 minutes. During that time, we normally cover some vocabulary topic. If we talk about young learners, then we develop also their reading skills, and very often we use different projects at the end of the lesson. So they also take up a lot of time. Projects where our students need to use the language that they have learned during their self-studies, like their homework that they do before the lesson and during this lesson. So the projects or tasks that help them to connect their knowledge of English to real life situations, and projects that they are that are quite like engaging. That's a practice that we normally have in Green Country. So 80 minutes for a lesson. Maybe it sounds like a lot for young learners, but even young learners have an opportunity to move on. In Green Country, we have this practice of well-balanced stirring and settling activities. So it doesn't mean that young learners are sitting at their table or in front of their computer if it's distant learning all the time. Yeah, they have different action songs, they have different chants, different games, like maybe running dictations. Yeah, so they have an opportunity to stir a little bit, to play something, to move, but everything is taught in English. So English is the only language we almost do not accept usage of L1 of Ukrainian during our lessons. That's how we work in Green Country. So 80 minutes, that's a time, but that's not much. Okay. Oh, thank you very much for your nice feedback. It's very pleasant to use. I also can see the question, чи є ваші зошити у продажі? All of our materials are there on our online platform, but for example, if you are interested in ABC book or in ABC Reader or in some separate part, I'm sure you can discuss that. Like buying only a part of it, but normally we combine online and offline because that's a reality nowadays. That's how young learners want to be taught. Yeah, that's what we need to keep in mind, that they are really dependent on technology, and it makes learning process faster and more engaging for them, and that's what we need to. So guys, I'll repeat once again that you are welcome to attend on the 2nd of June the presentation of Talking Cloud platform. It will be only about Talking Cloud platform, and there you will see all the tools and opportunities that it can give. Also, if you enjoyed this webinar, please leave some comments. And after the webinar, everybody will get a letter with all the summary, all the materials, links to the resources, links to the ideas, and of course the test. And maybe those who joined a little bit later missed that piece of information. So together with that webinar summary, you will get a link to the test. There will be 20 questions. All of them were mentioned during the session, and if you get 75% or higher result, you will get a free certificate from Talking Cloud and from Green Country. It will like prove that you were an active participant of this webinar. Yes, so this webinar will also be it was recorded, and you will be able to find it on our YouTube channel. So if you're interested and you don't want to miss all the next webinars like this with very different topics and teaching tips, please subscribe, comment everything actively. And thank you very much for being such an active and engaged audience. I really enjoyed working with you guys today. So I hope you all have a very nice evening, and see you during our next webinars. Bye.